for me and Andy?
No.
Those say the capitalize on any titles.
Okay. All right. Welcome everyone to the City of Albany Industrial Development Agency Audit Committee meeting. My name is Joe Better. I'm the Audit Committee Chair. And let the record reflect we do have a quorum with all members of the Audit Committee present. And so as our first order of business, we published the meeting minutes from our previous meeting were published. So could I get a motion to waive a reading and approve the minutes as is? So moved.
Second.
And excuse me, Chair, just for the record, I made a goof. Your packets have the incorrect minutes. They were reprinted and they are next to your packet. So you do have them and it is accurate on the website. So sorry about that.
No worries, not a problem. All right.
He's got penalties later.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on. We have no unfinished business, so our new business will be the Bonadio Group, 2024 audit engagement letter. And so I will turn it over to Andy for the introductions and go from there. Or is it, whoever?
Well, I mean, you can say that. You got
One of the Andys. Whichever one of the Andys starts, take the lead, yeah.
I guess we'll do it by proximity to the chair. Andrew McGann, Director of Finance and Operations. Show your own room or?
Yeah.
Sorry, just a brief introduction. The Bondia Group is here to present their audit presentation as a prospective candidate to conduct the 2024 audit for the IDA and the CRC. And
I am Andy Corsione, the Chief Operating Officer of the IDA.
Morgan Lynch, Executive Assistant for Capitalize Albany Corporation. I'm Cassidy Roberts, I'm a Program Assistant here at Capitalize Albany.
Chris Canada, Hotchkiss, comes to the IDA and the CRC.
Joe Scott, partner at Hodgson Russ.
Ashton Knoll, Interim Chief Executive Officer of IDA CRC.
John Maxwell, board member and member of the audit committee.
Gary Schaumfar, Albany City Treasurer, Treasurer of the IDA and CRC, and member of this committee.
Lee Eck, Vice Chair.
And I think that's everyone. All right. So without further ado, unless there's anyone, do you want to, I think you guys came prepared with a presentation, Ellen and Kylie?
Yes, thank you. So just to introduce myself, my name is Alan Walker. I'm a partner with the Bonadio Group. Andy reached out to us several weeks ago about performing an audit for the IDA and the CRC. We've worked with Andy before, one of my other partners. So we're happy to be here. We did a brief PowerPoint presentation, just talk about the audit process. We also sent over to Andy engagement letters for the two audits as well. It's not advance. If you want, can you just advance? Whoever the this isn't working.
The clicker? We did.
There we go.
Okay, perfect. So just a little bit about the Bonadio Group. Our roots in Albany go back, I don't know, to the mid-60s. We used to be Schoolmaker Road Storefman way back when on Broadway, or 524 Broadway. That's where I started many years ago. Our office now is in Connie in Albany. We merged with Bonadio in 2008. Here in Albany, we have about 100 people on, our offices on Wembley Court, which is, off of New Corner Road. We do, myself exclusively government audits. So cities, related IDAs, LDCs, that kind of thing, school districts, counties, towns, community colleges. Kylene as well, 100% government. So this is, this is what we do, every day. When we do the audit, in February, March, we won't have any competing deadlines. We don't have a tax season. Yeah, I think that works well for you guys. We're gonna advance to the next slide. So a little bit about the team. I'll let Eileen can talk about herself. Tim Doyle is my partner here in Albany. He's an advisory partner on the government team. So for whatever reason, I can't make a meeting or whatever, Tim can pitch it. He's done this for years. He's got 25 years plus experience. Heidi Bresler to the left is our quality assurance partner. What we do in our firm is even though I'm a partner in the firm, I cannot sign reports. They have to go through our QC process. So Heidi heads that up and she will review those. The first year audits goes through an extra review as well. She doesn't just look at the report, she looks at everything, make sure that we communicate with our predecessor, CPAs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then over to the right, Joe Hero is also a principal in our firm. He's the other key person here in Albany, on the government team. And Kylie, I'll turn it over to you.
My name is Kylene Fitzik. I'm a certified public accountant and certified fraud examiner with Bonadio. I've been with the firm now for about 10 years. As Alan mentioned, I'm 100% entirely focused on with governmental clients. So I serve cities, counties, towns, villages, school districts, colleges, and the various component units that come along with that too, the IDAs, CRCs, and LDCs, et cetera. In terms of the experience you mentioned a couple minutes ago, we do have a lot of experience with audits across New York State for the IDAs, LDCs, the CRCs, CDAs, et cetera. We meet the March 31st reporting deadline for all of those, no problem. Next, we utilize a client portal. I know it's a little small there on the screen, very user-friendly. It's a secure site where instead of utilizing email, all of our communication is right there on the portal sites. All of our audit requests will be on there. It eliminates back and forth in terms of emails getting lost and trying to find attachments, everything, all the files, communications, that's all housed right there on that site. We certainly can come on site to look at any files that you may find that's difficult to scan to the portal, but for the most part, most of our clients enjoy utilizing the portal. Hybrid audits are what we do these days. We can handle a lot from our office, handle a lot remotely. Well, thanks to the client portal, but we certainly can still come on site if necessary. At the very bottom, you can kind of see the various different color scheme to it all, which a lot of our clients enjoy. Keeps a running track of where the audit stands at any given time. What the outstanding audit request would be red. If you provided us something that would be yellow when everything's all said and done, would be turned green.
And Andy has used the portal previously, so the learning curve.
Other engagements. It's
It's
intuitive, straightforward.
Yeah, it's very straightforward. As Kylie said, we use it, it's secure. And then, you don't have restrictions on the size of files like with email, so.
I think the enjoyment is a relative aspect, but I'm not sure. We do find that it serves.
It serves its purpose. So we'll talk a little bit about the audit process. Right now we're in the planning process where we've just been engaged. So we'll work with Andy to communicate with, the predecessor auditors. We've worked with Steel Becker before. We'll reach out to them, review their work papers. You guys have the engagement letters. And then we'll jump into, planning. We will utilize the portal for planning as well. We'll put our requests of information that we want to see. We'll also go on the website and we'll look to find, stuff that we can't, we'll look there to see minutes, that kind of thing. We'll read, we'll try not to bug you to the extent, that we can find it on our own, we will. But we'll reach out to you, for other information. We'll do fraud related party interviews. We'll document internal controls. We'll do walkthroughs of significant control areas. As I said, we'll read the board minutes. We'll ask for contracts, financial reporting, regulator reports if there are anything. And then from all that information, we will use that to develop our audit approach for the IDA and the CRC. And what we'll do as well is we'll work with Andy to identify, when the audit committee meeting will be in March, and then work backwards so that everything is on track to meet the March 31st Paris filing deadlines. Okay.
Yep, next for the fieldwork phase, once we complete the planning and risk assessments phase, next would be the fieldwork timeframe, and that's, going through and identifying all the significant audit areas that need to be looked at, whether that be, cash, accounts receivable, your liabilities, accounts payable, revenues, expenses, et cetera. As I mentioned, for the portal slide, that are all of our audit requests for fieldwork will be on the portal. It's broken up into sections. There's a planning section, and then there's a fieldwork section to lay it out clearly there. I mentioned again, we can perform the audit on site or remote. We leave that up to you guys to let us know what your preference is. We can do either or. Again, though, a lot of it can be handled remotely in our office using the portal. And then, like I mentioned, Al mentioned, the audit procedures are based on our risk assessment once we go through that during the planning process.
And then the last piece of the process is reporting. The financial statements, we will set them up in our software, and then link them right to your trial balances. So as we, complete our artwork, the financial statement numbers will be populated. So if there are any last minute adjustments, it's relatively straightforward. Just record them, and then it'll hit, debit accounts receivable and credits, agency fees or whatever, that kind of thing. So that works quite well. If we do have any management comments or any findings, when we do the government auditing, we will discuss them. We're not gonna come to the audit committee and surprise you with an internal control finding or a management letter comment. Anything that we find, we'll discuss. So that there's our goal is not having surprises. And again, as I said previously, we'll work backwards from board meeting dates, to make sure that we meet the, ensure expectations and get everything completed by the March 31st deadline.
Great. Excellent.
Andy and the committee run a very tight ship functionally, so I'm looking forward to a professional and productive audit.
Okay. Us as well. The collaborative, I guess, it is a collaborative effort, right? So, we can't audit what you guys don't provide, but, I don't see any roadblocks, so.
And the fee is $15,000 annually?
15,000 for the IDA and 5 for the CRC.
Yeah.
Yep.
And just to note, stepping back, we were informed by our previous auditor, Steel Becker, at a kind of a later point in the year that they'd no longer be engaging us. But we did nonetheless solicit multiple quotes for this, and we did find that the Bonadia Group did provide the highest value in terms of service. So I just wanted to make sure that we're clear on that with the committee.
Or in alignment with procurement policy.
Correct.
All right. So, does anyone have any other questions or?
Yeah, Joe, I do have one.
Sure.
Thanks. You talked about the due diligence and the portal. To what extent does your due diligence extend to board members? Do you have interviews with committee members, with board members? Maybe you can talk through that.
Yep,
with,
yep, so typically in, especially first year audit, we have a board member questionnaire that we'll send out. That, basically, relatively generic questions regarding, your role in governance, your understanding or knowledge of any fraud, your knowledge of any related party transactions, that kind of thing. So we will circulate that to the entire board in the first year. Typically what we do is we'll send 2 requests. And if we don't hear back from you, we'll just assume that everything is good. And then in subsequent years, we usually will communicate with the board president and audit committee chair.
So in year one, it's just a paper transfer back and forth.
Email, paper, email, whatever, again, whatever your preference is, but yeah, and we'll, yeah. And so,
Thank you.
relatively, generic.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
All right, so at this point, I think what we have to do, we have to make a recommendation on the documents that are before us to recommend them to the formal board, or do we?
Audit committee should have the powers to be able to sign, to make a resolution to sign this.
Okay, so we can just do that, okay, all right, so starting.
Wanted to go to the full board?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could make a recommendation.
Yeah, I'll make a motion for positive recommendation for board.
Do we need to do each one separately, or should we just, can we do them all at one time?
So we'll do the engagement letter
Yeah.
first, and then the other 2 items on the agenda are more agency focused in terms of procedural, so we'll take those separately as well.
Yeah, okay, all right, so I think Darius, you made a motion for the engagement letter. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next on the agenda list, we have the review adequacy of audit committee charter. I get a motion for a recommendation to the full board.
I think this is just a review.
Okay.
So excuse me, I misspoke. So, we did distribute the audit committee charter previously, prior to this meeting. It is up on our website as well. It is it's best practice for the committee to review this on an annual basis. So if there are changes, these would go through, I believe, our policy and governance committee. If there aren't changes, then we don't do anything per se, other than note that we did review the charter.
Okay.
So and sorry, Jill, from our perspective, Chris and I have looked at that. There's been no changes in law that require a change in our audit charter. So from a council standpoint, you're fine to go. Right.
Excellent. So other than, so does anyone else?
Yeah, I don't know if we need a motion or not, but I will say I find this entirely adequate.
That was where I was going as well. So unless anyone else doesn't find it, unless anyone has any other issues, well, we can move on. We'll say it's adequate and move on to, and the same for C, it's just a review of the same thing. Does everyone find the audit committee 2024 performance adequate?
And this is just a review of the duties performed by the committee in each calendar year. It's best practice to review this on an annual basis. So we have that here before you. It was previously distributed, so.
Yeah.
Again, I think we're entirely adequate.
That's what I'm moving to. All right. So if nothing else there, we have no other business. So could I motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned.